Hey everyone, bloodmako here, and this is my Lufenia video for the new event called Umbra Equinox. So basically, this event it is basically to try and showcase the 3 boosted bursts and the 3 boosted characters, I guess. Yeah. So six boosted characters in total. So you got Sephiroth. Not Sephiroth. Sorry, I was looking at the Imp heretics and I was like, okay, Sephiroth. No, yeah, it's not Sephiroth. It's Kefka, Arden, and Van. Yeah, and the other 3 are Emmy, Waka, and everybody's long-awaited Setzer. So for this first particular team comp, the imps basically, I decided not to bring any more of the boosted characters, and I brought Sephiroth, you know, for his revenge. But I also brought Tidus, but after trying out the event for a while, I realized that it's a bit difficult to maintain the AWP with Tidus around. So I won't really recommend him unless you really know how to manage the AWP well, or rather manage your turns well. You see at the very beginning when the AWP was active, and later on in the fight, I kind of passed on Tidus turns quite a few times. That's mainly because I didn't want him to keep going so often that the AWP will trigger. Which is why you see me checking a few times that slash combo is not going to give him instantly go again, you know, so that I can get the AWP to reset, right? And the AWP, and for the AWP to reset or to increase by 4 is basic. Sorry, 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Let me check. For it to increase, it is basically for the target, which is the boss, to take a turn. Yeah, it increases by 5, and the limit is at 10. You see that most of the time it hardly hits the limit. Basically, these bosses are actually I personally feel it is meant for Waka. You're meant to get the confused up, and then after that, let them take a turn. They get confused, they don't attack, and then after that you can just let them have it. But yeah, so I guess this is a Waka stage, and these bosses are immune to magic and immune to and absorbs holy. Not immune to magic, but they are resistant to magic and they absorb holy. So definitely not Van stage. So I'm guessing it will be Kefka, because he can also HP silence them, and that counts as taking a turn as well. Yeah, they are not immune to HP silence. So if you're having trouble and you have these 2 characters, they should be able to make this fight a lot easier to manage. So I noticed is that once the AWP is down at 79%, one of them will have that red aura, where you're hitting once again, and it's super annoying. But the thing is that it is only one of them, and I don't believe it comes up for the rest of the stage. Oh, they also cleanse, by the way, at 79%, so you might want to hold off on your debuff, on your calls. But yeah, so managing the AWP, like I said, confuse them. They're not immune to paralyze as well. You can paralyze them, HP silence, or you can just like tank it out like me with Gladio. With our current setup, the Calamity Bomber, I think that's what it's called, the very scary AoE, which is it is not shared, it is split. It's not split, sorry. It is the amount is spread. It's not spread. I keep saying that, but you think that the brave damage is or the HP damage will be shared among the 3. No, it will hit each individual. Oh my god, I can't talk. Individual member the full amount. So yeah, it was very scary when it first came out, but take a look right here. 2000. I mean, come on. Gladio laughs at the damage, but yeah. And they missed Tidus, that was the best thing. A bit of a spoiler, but yeah, they missed Tidus twice. I believe they got like 3 or 4 off, and they missed Tidus twice. They hit, and they missed Sephiroth once. I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, they can't even hit for shit and they're not even blinded. Oh yes, Kefka also put blind, so that's another good thing. So yeah, this is definitely his stage. I think, yeah, Waka also places blind on them, so yeah, definitely the two of them's stage. And if you're really paranoid, you can just bring in a tank. Preferably Gladio or Galuf. I'm not so sure whether Celeste works for this stage because they are magic resistant. But yeah. And that is the entire fight. You know, the Aura, Calamity Bomber. Oh yes, and they love to give themselves shield. And if you're running the same team comp as me, you'll notice that we won't be doing much to the shield. And most of the time I'm just relying on Tidus to follow up and all his quick attacks, you know, quick hit, his slice and dice to basically whittle the shield down without taking too many turns. Because the shield is quite substantial at 68,000, and for some reason they are very they have a lot of defense, especially if you stack it along with the magic immunity. Oh, sorry, the magic resistance. So it's like I mean, look at Cloud. She was hitting for 1,000. That was sad, man. So yeah, you might have some trouble breaking down the shield, but other than that, this fight is not as scary as it once was. I mean, they still can take you by surprise because the reason why it wasn't scary for me was because when they used their Calamity Bomber, nobody broke. So if you are, I mean, if you are unlucky enough to get broken during the Calamity Bomber, you might face some HP issue. But if not, a HP call would do. You know, you don't even need Gladio's passive regen. Someone like I was gonna say Palan Cecile, but yeah, he's actually really bad for this stage because they absorb poly. And if you notice, I actually brought Alexander. I kind of forgot that they absorb poly, and when I summoned, I had the oh shit moment where I was like, oh no, is everybody gonna do holy damage now? You know, so basically I won't be doing any damage. And I was like thinking this round was dead, but I was like, okay, never mind, let's give it a shot, you know. I might be able to finish it with just Brave Regen alone. But no, that's another interesting fact. So when you go into the Alexander summon, you are not Holy Enchant. That's a good thing, I guess, for this fight at least. Let me look at the damage, 700 on Gladio. Oh, how I wish we can constantly see that kind of damage. But yeah, Cloud of Darkness Friend was also a mistake. I should have brought someone like Butts or Garland. Garland maybe not so much because you will want them to take turns later on, at least when the orb is active. But Tidus Friend will not be good as well because you don't want him to keep going and going. So I guess Setzer Friend. I mean, there are quite a few Setzer Friends out there right now. If not, anyone that doesn't take too many turns and does physical damage, basically, and doesn't delay. Yeah, so that's about it. As for calls, I believe I brought all the usual debuff calls with Setzer. I wanted to test it out, and I didn't really see the rainbow numbers up when I used the call, but it could also be mainly because Tidus went so often that the rest of my party members were not able to really maximize the call effect. So yeah, I also decided to burst here because I know that the orb will be reactivated at 50% or 49%, and I decided to burst now instead of letting them go again because I really wanted to save Gladio's LD for when the orb is active. So I didn't want Gladio to take damage. I didn't know why. I mean, to be honest, he was fine. He could have just ate 2 of it and it wouldn't be an issue. It's like 2 HP dumps and it would still be an issue, I believe. But yeah, I did not know that they cleanse again at 49%, so that's something to take note. If I had knew, I'd definitely you know, hold back on my calls and my burst. But that's also one of the reasons why my burst damage was so low. So yeah, they cleansed at 79% and they cleansed at 49%. And I believe that was the only two times they cleansed. At 29% they nothing happened. So yeah, other than that, this fight is not too bad. I mean, we have so many healers and HP mitigations, especially with Porum, that this fight is actually kind of a joke. You know, the Orc isn't really an issue because it doesn't really matter if they take turns or not. I guess it doesn't really matter if they take turns. If they don't take turns, they will kill you. But yeah, it doesn't really matter if they take too many turns. You know, it doesn't matter if they do multiple Calamity Bombers on you, as long as it's not the Pulse version. Porum will just laugh at it. Gladio eats it like it's breakfast, you know, for him. We can always just use the Warrior of Light call. Heck, you can even just use Warrior of Light. It's fine. I mean, the amount of Brave regen or battery that he gives to the party, you know, is actually a decent choice for this. So yeah, things are actually going slowly right now because of my Cloud of Darkness friend. She, as you saw, she only did 3.5. I should have just got her out as soon as possible, you know. So yeah, reapplied the gold frame debuff. I forget what it's called, cellular erosion, I think, something like that. It affects a certain brave. That's the description. So it was like a poison, and I guess it increases your brave as well. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. Yeah. So right here, I was only worried about Tidus constantly breaking them, because with his burst effect up, he will do jet shot every 2 turns he takes, and he'll be taking turns quite often. So if they keep breaking constantly, the issue is that they will not take a turn. And another nice thing is that right now, even if I were to break one of them, it will be out of order. So I mean, I got that going for me. And yeah, another thing that I should not have done was refresh Gladio's LD buff, because at this point of the fight, I believe I had already planned to let Tidus go as much as possible, delay them as far as I can, and then straight away go into summon to bring their turns forward. That was the plan at least. And using Gladio's LD there was a mistake, because once I go into summon, they will not be attacking me. So Gladio's 3 or 4 turn buff will basically be over really fast. So yeah, I mean, I could have just ate the Calamity Bomber, that wasn't an issue, you know. I believe this is the one that Sephiroth managed to, yes, yeah, this is the one that Sephiroth managed to dodge. 1 dodge, 1 0 HP, and 1 327, which immediately regen after that. I could have done better and even use a freeze on him. That's another way to deal with them also. You can just freeze them. You know, they won't get any brave. Their Calamity Bomber will do 0 damage. You don't have to worry about a single thing. But I would not recommend that you use Caesar for this stage. If anything, I would say use it for the last stage. The last stage was the one with the issue, because for some reason these few Lufenias, they all have an incredible amount of defense. These 3 stages. So I don't know. I would say, you know, just save him for last, I guess. Yeah, I'm also going to summon. If you're wondering when I use my summon, I'm actually going to summon when they hit 5. Yes, right here. And this is my oh shit moment when I realized, why is that one getting brave and why is Alexander doing 0 damage? Yeah. So that's when I realized. And thank God Sephiroth was not doing holy damage. If not, I'm gonna have issues killing them in this summon. But yeah, kill them in this summon and on to the next one. I mean, this was pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but I mean, they were really tanky, but it was one of the easiest, I think. And the first and second one was quite easy. The third one I had issue. But yeah. So my spheres and artifacts again at the back. At the end of this particular video, I'll put the timestamps for each particular Lufenia that I did, so that it's easier for you guys to search. Right, the next stage, Noctis, Setzer and Tifa. Tifa mainly for the damage and to really utilize or maximize or whatever word it is I want to say. My brain is so fried right now. But yeah, I brought Tifa because I wanted her to go as many turns as possible with Noctis burst active. That was the plan at least. It was I mean I had a Noctis friend, but I did not want to I was not trying for a 0 turn. I didn't want to put the amount of pressure on myself. I just want to finish this. Though it is nice to see Noctis doing max HP damage. But yeah, these bosses, they are annoying. I hadn't planned for their mechanic. I know that they used to do very daily single target, but they hardly take a turn because of Noctis being in the fight. But they do have one annoying mechanic that I only found out after I had replaced my Noctis with a friend Noctis. Is that I believe at certain thresholds, I believe it's the usual 79, 49 and 29%. I believe so. I will put it in the description. They actually will. I don't believe they cleanse themselves. Yeah, they don't cleanse themselves, but they actually apply a HP poison on your party members, and it's avoidable. I'm not so sure if you can paralyze them, especially with the Ramu summon. Yeah, it says that they are immune to paralyze, but Ramu's paralyze is quite unique, so I'm not exactly sure whether it will go through. But they will do a thing called what is it called? Yes, release flukes, and it will inflict fluke on your party members, and it's basically a HP poison. But the good thing is that it's a very small HP poison. So me accidentally buffing myself with Paladin Cecil's LD. This was an accident actually. So I applied the overheal, and then they did this. And the best thing was that Tifa didn't get hit by the flukes because Paladin Cecil was active. So that's another plus. So you can actually time it just nice. I believe it was at 79%. So when when one goes to 79%, it will inflict fluke on you. When the other one goes to 79%, it will also inflict fluke on you. So it is recommended that you get both down to 79% so that you don't take too much HP poison. I mean, it is really tiny amount. I mean, you saw the HP poison is like 1000, not 700 for Noctis. And with the overheal, you are really not in any danger of dying, especially if you're not going to let them take a turn. So yeah, this boss wasn't difficult. I guess if the bosses are not acting, every fight is easy. But yeah, that is the way I like to deal with it. I really wanted to use Noctis as much as possible before he drops off again. So this was a perfect time. Oh yes, I actually did a few pulls for Leon's LD weapon, and I believe I used 200 tickets. I did it off camera. It was a 200 tickets spread over a few days, and the joke was that I didn't get Leon's LD. If not, I'll definitely be using him in one of the defeaters at least. In fact, Leon will have made the first boss fight quite easy because everything they do, he will just absorb and counter. Yeah, he will actually make it a joke. I believe he works really well with the third one as well. In fact, he works well with all, because if your Lieutenant take turns, then he will just enchant them with poison and then absorb the poison. But yeah, I didn't get his weapon, but I got 2 Tidus bursts. Not 1, but 2. That was a joke in my opinion. I mean, I didn't even want the burst. I wasn't even going for the burst, but now I have 3. 1 from the very first time that Tidus got released, and 2 from Leon's battle. And ironically, I could not get the LD. I mean, isn't that a joke? And if you guys are watching my my Setzer pool video, then you will also know that I had difficulty getting Setzer's LD as well. Couldn't be bothered about Waka's LD, I got it too, but man, that was painful. I mean, my gem stash is still quite healthy, but it always hurts to see my resources just go down the drain just like that. I mean, 300 tickets is just for nothing, you know. So right here I decided to burst, just continue all the follow-up attacks that Noctis does. And yeah. The interesting thing about Setzer's LD is that it's actually a buff. First of all, it's a buff on yourself. And it also works in mid-air. So sometimes you might be doing rainbow damage in mid-air, and I thought that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that it worked in mid-air. I just thought that it would only be, you know, when you're hitting them on the ground. But yeah, Setzer works really well with anyone that is not doing. Look at the damage, that was pathetic. At this point of the fight, for some reason their defense just skyrocketed and Noctis was not doing any more damage, which is why Setzer is actually really good for all the fights, because all of the bosses' defenses are just stupid high. I mean, you can just load them up with calls and stuff, but as we know, the first wave bosses they cleanse. Actually, it is the first boss, it's not a wave. First bosses they cleanse. These bosses they also cleanse. Sorry, they don't cleanse, but for some reason they just have an incredible amount of defense. And the last wave, or the last Lufenia, they also cleanse themselves. So it is just so annoying to deal with. Anyway, we'll talk about the third one when we are actually doing the fight. So the thing about Setzer's LD is that you have to be very aware of when it falls off. I actually didn't know that it was a buff until I was watching some of my replays and I was like, oh, it's actually a buff, and no wonder sometimes I'm not doing rainbow damage, you know. It's because the buff just wore off. I mean, you don't really have to be afraid of using Setzer's LD too often. I believe one. No wait, I believe I used all of it, but I feel like I didn't really have to keep refreshing it so often. That was one of the good things there. But yeah, I really like Setzer's LD. I don't know how often I use him. I mean, I could just pull him once and then just use him as permanently after that. Maybe just replace someone Jack or something. But I don't know, man. Because it is still a chance, and as we all know, you know, my luck is pretty bad. So I might not be using him so often. Right? Just stick to the old reliable Jack, and then just do max brave damage. But yeah, this fight is more or less over already. I don't really know much of this. I believe this was Asiela's boss. Yeah, I believe it was Asiela's. I can't remember. But they are not right now. They are also immune to terror, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, there is something else to take note. Sorry, there is something else to take note. But yeah. Alright, another thing is that when you finish one of the bosses off, the other one will cannibalize the dead boss, and you will heal 240,000, I believe. So if possible, just finish both of them off at the same time. If not, then be prepared to go through the amount of health again. But it's not much actually. You actually see me killing one off by accident, and the other one wasn't very healthy anyway. You know, I just realized that I talked so long, but I did. Oh, sorry, 900,000. But if you look at his health bar, it's actually not much. So yeah, nothing much to worry about in terms of turns if you're running this particular comp. You know, he's dead. He's just a walking corpse at this point. But yeah, the op is basically to make sure that he has less than 5,000 brave at any one point of time. So basically, a really good call would be Ferris. with her LD. It will basically just make him go to 0 brief after he takes a turn. As you can see, he doesn't take a turn, so that call would be kind of useless to me. But yeah, so make sure that he has less than 5,000 brave, and you'll just keep increasing by 1 and cap at. They say cap at 8, but it's constantly at 7 because you know +1 -1 +1 -1, you know, it's just constantly at 7. And yeah, I mean, Tifa makes anything a joke, to be honest. I mean, brave regen, and now with rainbow damage, there's no way that she won't be breaking any of the bosses. So the boss is at 2% health. I believe Tifa was the one that finished it. I can't remember. Yes, it was Tifa that actually finished it. So just LD is nice, but it does not do much damage, sadly. So yeah, let me take a sip of water, and then we'll carry on to the last one. Oh, and if you're wondering why my friend Noctis was doing so little damage, this is why. So, the last stage is the hardest in my opinion. I can't remember which bosses were these. I believe these was aggress bosses, right? They are so annoying to deal with. I mean, right here they're fine. I brought all the booster characters. My initial plan was not let them take a turn. That's why I brought Amy. And I made a lot of mistakes right here. You see later on. So I deleted the turns, and then I decided, hey, the turns look very far off. Well, I think it's time to bring in my Garland friend. I managed to find a Garland friend, and then you know, get the burst effect active, and then let the other 2 party members just really utilize the brave, the burst effect basically. And then you look at me. For some reason, he decided to speed up, and after that, I had difficulty trying to keep them back. So that was one of the mistakes that I made. I believe at least that I brought Emmy, switched out Emmy too early. Oh, and this when I was doing this fight, I actually have not pulled for Setzer, which is why you don't see me using him. If not, this fight would be really useful to have a Setzer call as well. So as usual, you know, the basic with Argent, just use your warp strike to break the bosses to get your head stacks up. The only way to increase the head stacks is to use a warp strike on an unbroken target and to break the target, or to use his EX, which unbreaks and then breaks the target, so it will also increase. So the minute you hit 8, you are good to go. You don't have to worry about maintaining the stacks, because especially with his EX, he will constantly be breaking characters, I mean the bosses, so you don't have to worry about maintaining stacks. Right, another one of the mistakes that I made was actually I didn't know that these bosses will cleanse themselves. I know that at a certain point of the fight, I believe it was 50%, that they will, the orb will disappear. And that was all I understood from it. The orb will disappear. Oh, look at advanced damage. I really burst with the wrong character. A bit of a spoiler, yeah, but I really burst with the wrong character. In fact, I believe if I had burst with Van, I would have been able to avoid taking HP damage in this fight. Because if you notice, I didn't bring any healer at all, not even as calls. So yeah, and that was my second mistake, using the Kurasami's call even though they already had the debuff up. Cause in my head, my logic was, they're not gonna take a turn, you know. So why hold on to this call? You know, might as well just use it now before I go into burst and do more max HP damage. And yeah, it is really nice. You know, it's been a while since I've seen I didn't do so much damage to Lufenia boss. But on hindsight, I would have saved. I did save one of the Gobrov call, because it was on Emmy, and I would have applied only one of Kurosame's call, and I would definitely not. I believe I have not applied with one. I can't remember. I can't remember if I applied or I have not applied. But either way, I would. If I had applied, I would not have applied. I would have just wait until I did stupid chant and rise in the air. Yes, this one. I mean, look at it. Oh god, every single one of them gone. And 98,000. Look at poor Arden's finisher. That was sad damage, man. I mean, almost 3 mil, but it would have been so much more if these people didn't decide to chant at the perfect time. But yeah, so I believe they don't do HP damage if they are chanting to a single target. But if it's an all attack, then it should be a HP attack. So yeah, that's something to take note. And at this point of the fight, I was like telling myself, try and get Garland out as fast as possible. I need Emmy back to delay and then to slow them down, because her LD deletes and also applies I believe at least it applies the slower turns. I forget what is the exact what exactly is it called, but it actually slows the bosses quite significantly. So that was my thought process, at least when I was doing this. And a really unfortunate break. If they had broke in order, I might be able to continue with this no boss turn. But oh well. I mean, I still managed to finish it, so there's not an issue. Yeah, you see, I had to summon here because I really didn't want the boss to take a turn. And I believe when they are floating in the air, they also take reduce brave damage, which also explains why we are hitting them for so little. And it makes Emmy so valuable because of the brave battery that she gives. So yeah, I believe they only managed to do a 1 HP attack on my party member, and I believe that was A. Oh, I'm pretty sure that was A. So once A did its AoE HP attack, that was it. They didn't get a turn after that. Mainly because I was kind of worried about the HP requirement. But yeah. So if you're bringing the exact same thing home as me, don't burst with Arden, just burst with Van. In fact, you can actually just switch Arden out for Garland with Emmy in your party, active in your party member. She deletes the boss's turn and Garland just delays. So basically, you will never see the boss's turn again. Actually, now that I think about it, that is exactly what I should have done. Oh well. One of the bosses is actually really low already. And another interesting thing about this fight is that at 50%, what was it, 50%? Give me a second to check. These bosses, yes, at 50% it will disappear, the orb at least, and it will reappear again when the boss is at 50% and lower, and it uses its Gobulated Crush, and that is I believe the single target one. So you guys have been listening to me, drone on and on about all the mechanics of the Lufenia, But I actually forget to explain this orb, this orb condition for this fight, right? It's basically to just break them, which is why Arden is really good for this. The orb will still tick if they are broken, so that's something to be careful of. But yeah, and here we go. Oh, okay, so it's not the single target. It is actually the AoE. Yeah, the single target is the one that is just a brief. I think so. I mean, Van blinded him, so he couldn't get anything off. I really should have just shifted my focus to A and try and kill him. Either that, or I should have tried and reapply blind on B. I think that's what I did. I just got unlucky with the mischance. Look at the damage, it's so bad. That's mainly because I didn't have Gabrov's buff up, or debuff up. And I really should have burst with Van. These bosses should have been dead if I had burst with Van. Right here I was just trying to... You know, I had to pick one of the boss to delete. And it just... I just so happened to decide to pick A. I believe actually that... there we go. 5,000 each is actually more than the first boss, but yeah. No healer, so as long as I'm still within the HP requirement, this shouldn't be an issue. And now that the B is down on the ground, I just have to worry about A. In fact, I could just shifted my focus to A because B was low enough such that splash damage would have been able to kill him. So yeah, that was something that I could have changed, I guess. But Argent is spent. You know, he barely has any more skills left. In fact, his warp strike is totally gone. Van on the other hand has many skills. Look at that. So yeah, really should have burst with Van. Shouldn't have burst with Argent. Managed to be able to delete the boss turn one last time, so I didn't have to take the HP damage. You know. But yeah, maybe Argent isn't really a good choice, but he makes the op really easy to manage. You know, if you can just hold off his EX and only use it when you really need to increase the op count again. But yeah, guys, the fight is done. The boss is at 1%. My artifacts and spheres, as usual, at the back. I don't have perfect artifacts for Van, but not that it matters actually. The Van was doing pathetic brave damage. He was basically the brave regen and brave battery that he had that really did all the damage. But yeah, guys, I hope that you guys are also able to clear this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.